Hi guys, and happy Sunday. Today is Sunday, March 6th, and we're on the second day of touring the annual catalog that came out last June, but will retire at the end of April. Now, not everything in it's going to retire, but what I'm showing you in case they do retire, and I don't have enough time to show all the sets, I'm showing you some of the sets that were new to that catalog that I have not yet featured in one of my videos. So this one is called Butterfly Brillance. And in the catalog, in the annual catalog, you can find it on page 106. Now, yes, is it showcased that much? No, but this was the customer early release from last year. Like we have Waves of the Ocean this year. Last year it was this Butterfly Brilliance bundle, which includes the Brilliant Wings as well as the stamp set. They also had a fabulous designer paper, which didn't carry over because a lot of designer papers don't carry over. And since it was a customer introduction last year, it was only available during the customer introduction. Not sure what's going to happen with that Waves of Ocean DSP. Won't know till I get the catalog, but I'll let you know. So we're going to do this Butterfly Brilliance, which is one stamp set. Oh, did you hear that? It all fell. One stamp set, but it's 12 dies. And what you can see here is that all of the dies have individuals in them, but the actual main die, this is where you need your magnetic board or your magnetic tray beside you. But this is the main die. And this does not cut out all together. They're not connected. They'll cut out individually. And we'll show you how we're going to do that later. But this is the card I came up with. So we have a lot we're going to go over today. Because not only are we going to stamp the set, but I'm going to show you how to color that vellum. Okay. Now, for this technique, you really do want to use our vellum. I've tried other vellums before we came out with this vellum. And the technique works, but I think it really works good with our vellum cardstock. Only because for vellum, it's a little bit thicker than what you get. And that's why I think you get the best results. So I'm going to go over to my cutting board and I'm going to cut this into the standard size. You can see here, I didn't do the standard size. I did a little bit shorter so it would emphasize, but I really didn't like the way that turned out. So I'm going to go cut this in fourths. So I'm getting on a little bit late today because we had some nasty storms go through the Chicagoland area last night. So my son and I ended up staying up till 12:30 to make sure that we were safe. That for those of you that don't know, my husband, my son, and my daughter all have hearing problems. Now my son and my husband rely on their hearing aids. My daughter, not so much. She uses them like in classroom settings. Now that she's out in the work world, she doesn't really rely on them too much. But I'm always afraid, since I'm the one that has the best hearing, that if I don't stay awake, no one's going to hear the sirens. Okay, anyway, so here's the vellum. We're going to use the alcohol marker technique. So let me go ahead. I'm going to be featuring, of course, I'm featuring the retiring in colors that are going to retire at the end of April. So this is Just Jade, and this is, oh, this is Polished Pink. Sorry, got the wrong one. Magenta Madness. All right, so I have those. And what I'm going to do is, I also have my spritzer with your alcohol. Now, it has to be 91 or higher in order for this technique to really work. And just to let you know, I am going to be using a heat gun. I don't use a heat gun very often. And I've been with Stampin' Up! Since 1999. And I've had this heat gun since then. Now, the new heat gun has 2 speeds on it. It has a low and a high. And I was really waiting to buy that, even though it's been out for a few years, until this one died. This one's not dying. Stampin' Up! Products are so good. They'll last you forever. And I really until I get more into the business and get more followers and more shows and all that, I really don't want to invest in a second heat gun. Not that they're that expensive, but they take up room, and it's kind of like ladders. If you have a 10-foot ladder, are you going to get a second 10-foot ladder that has maybe rubber on the steps? Okay, anyway, so this works. It's a great heat tool. It's lasted me. I got this from the very beginning, so I've had this 22 years or more. So I'm going to be using that, even though it's not a current item. Your current item is going to be another Stampin' Up! Heat tool, but it's going to have a high and a low setting. So, you know, a lot more variety. All right, so, and then I just use a tin from a grocery store to kind of help keep the alcohol in place, as well as add that extra heat source, so the process will work faster. Okay, so unlike the other alcohol video that I had earlier, on this one I am just making some lines in the middle. I am not covering the whole vellum cardstock, and I'll show you why in a second. Let me put these off to the side, bring this out, make sure my other one's out of the way, and I'm going to spritz this with a lot of alcohol. And you're going to see it start to muddy. So now, instead of letting that sit and just break up, I'm going to move it around with the heat gun. It's going to be noisy. I'm sorry, guys, but I want to show you what's going on. Oh, it would help if I had it plugged in. I unplugged it last night, of course, because guess what? We were having storms. So I unplugged my computer and all of my heat items. All right, let me get this plugged back in. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that all towards the middle. I'm going to try to keep this towards the middle. Some of it's naturally going to go to the ends because, you know, it's bowing, it's bowing up in the middle a little bit. But I'm trying to keep as much as I can towards the middle. And when you use two colors, they will bleed into a third color. So you can see I'm getting kind of like a purplish look too. All right. And don't worry, you're not going to burn your vellum if you don't touch the paper and if you keep it up kind of up. I'm going to bring some of that lighter pink now over from the edges. So I want this to be somewhat, I think I got some underneath it now. I want it to be somewhat dry when I turn off my heat gun. So as you can see, a lot of it has now blended into a separate color. You really don't see that marvelous magenta anymore, but I'm not mad with that. I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to turn this upside down just to kind of take off anything that was kind of still wet. See, there's still a little spot. So I don't know if you can see it really good. Let's see, yeah. So here you can see that that's the side it was colored on. You can see because it looks kind of shiny-ish when you tilt it. And this side is the back. So, I mean, it's really kind of nice the way it is. But what I'm going to do is, just because I can, I'm just going to go over where those spots were, because I don't know that I liked how stark they were. And you're going to see what happens now. You can never do two the same. Just letting you know that right now. So let me go ahead and spritz it again. And you're going to see all the color come back up again. See how it comes all up in that color again? Get it really wet again. And I'm going to turn on the heat gun again and try to keep that towards the middle. Alright. Keeping it more towards the middle. Okay, I don't want to get too close. It's hot, so you want to be careful. You don't really want to touch it. Alright, and I think I've got some on the other side too. So I'm going to go ahead and go on this side just in case. Make sure it's all dry. Alright, and don't touch the end of that heat gun for a while. It stays hot. All right. Oh, look at that. That looks fantastic. I'm going to rub it on my table mat just to make sure. So here's this side here. Let me go ahead and put it up against a piece of white. Here's this side that you colored on. Here's the back side. I tend to mount this where it was colored down on the cardstock, only because then if for some reason, like if you're mailing this, let's say in the summertime, it might get hot and humid in the envelope, and you wouldn't want someone to actually pick it up and get marker on the hands like I did. Okay, let me go over here and let me cut a base for this cards. So I'm going to do it at 4.5 by, 4 1/4 by 11, and I'm going to score at 5.5. So it's going to be one of those top fold cards. All right, just making sure it's all lined up and even. Okay, sorry about that. So here you go, and this is going to go over the top. Now here's another tip, and see, I cut it just a little bit smaller, but it's going to be all right. I'm not too worried about it. So here's the other thing. We're going to stamp on this, but when you're applying the vellum, your liquid glue, your multi-purpose glue works the best, but I would suggest making sure you have one that's newer. And the reason I say that is that when I squeezed out this one, it came out kind of yellowish. So, I mean, this glue lasts forever too. So you can kind of see it's not really yellowish around the edge, but I kind of feel like it looks yellowish around the edge. So use a new one. So we just opened this one. I don't have it in a holder yet, so we hope it'll all work out good. All right, so on my Stamparatus, I have that stamp. Now, when this first came out, some people bought 2 of the stamp sets because they wanted to cut this apart so you had individual butterflies too. I don't think it's that big of a deal because you can mask, you can, only ink that part. There's a lot you can do, so I didn't buy 2 of them. I left it mounted the way it is. On the Stamparatus, I do have a piece of repositional tape just to kind of help hold my cardstock in place. And this time, I think I'm going to stamp off once. We'll see. We'll see how. So I'm going to go here. But before I stamp, I'm going to take another, let me open up my Stamparatus case here. I'm going to take another one, just put it over here, take off just a little bit of that color. And now that's still in the same place. I'm going to bring it down and rub over it to make sure that I get that nice smooth transition. If not, if there's a space, like I don't like how that's kind of not quite great there. So then I'm just going to take this and rub over that space again. Sorry, probably moving the cameras. And look how much better that looks. Okay, so that is that. So now let's go ahead and bring, is this the one I just did? Yes, it must be. I think it is. I think this is the one I just did, but if not, forgive me. So anyway, and it's not the one. Oh yes, it is. It is the one we just did. All right, so again, get your silicone mat out. This is a sponge I use just for glue. Make sure, oh, that looks white. This is a brand new one, so of course it's going to look nice and white. So now that we've stamped that underneath, I'm just going to go along the edges here. Now remember, you have the side that you can tell looks shinier. That's where the ink was. That's where I'm going to be putting the ink. So I'm going to try to do this so that I don't get, I'll keep going down so I hopefully don't get any glue on the other side of my vellum. Oh, let me go over here. All right, I think I got it down. Hopefully I didn't get any on the other side. All right, now I don't do the middle, so it is going to possibly bubble up. I'm okay with that because these are butterflies after all. They should be floating, right? So, and if you want to hold it a little bit longer, you could take one of your big blocks or even your platform, put it on the top for a little bit just to hold it in place. All right. So, that's the beginning of the card. Look how pretty that is. Very, very pretty. Okay, so now we are going to take the big die and the little dies, and we are going to go ahead and cut out my focal point. Let me put this over here, get that glue out of the way. All right, so this is going to cut out, like I said, all of them. So you have to have it, this die, and I don't know if you can see it, it is 4.5 across. So your half cut cardstocks or your 4-inch cardstocks are not going to hold it. But for me, I'm going to figure out that I'm going to use one of these 3 butterflies. So that's how I'm going to put it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So let's go ahead, come back over here with that. I told you guys there's a lot in this one. Once you get it down though and have the stuff out, you can really do an assembly line of these really quick. So we have platform 1, platform 2, and 2 of our 3s, of course. So I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put it so those, and I hope I'm still on. Yeah, I'm on mostly. I'm going to put that die on so these 3 are going to get cut. All right, so there you are. When you take it off, there's those 3, and we can decide which one we're going to use on our card. Oh my gosh, no fingernails. All right, let me move this over to the side. All right, so now we're going to figure out which die do I want to use on my card. And I think I'm going to put it up over here, because see how there's a lot of concentrated color here? I think I'm going to put the butterfly up there, and I just want it to be a small one. So I think maybe I'll go like this. So let me go ahead and figure out which die that is. I think it's this one. Let's see. Yep, it's that one. See how that matches in? All right. So, and what I'm going to use, you know me, I leave stuff out a while. So these are from yesterday's video. And I think I want it to be a little bit, the darker one. So it contrasts against that. So let's go ahead. I think I'm going to do it where the wings at the top will be green and we'll have that near the bottom. So let me go ahead and put these up here. See, I put this off to the side, and now I need to use it again. This is why my videos go so long. All right, let me go ahead, bring that out again. Get those off there. All right, line up the butterfly where I want the green wings, or the top of the wings to be green. There we go. And we'll roll it through that way. Now, you don't need to do it twice. I did it only once on the sample card and everything popped out, but you can go through twice, especially since it's a more intricate die. It's more detailed. But look at this. When you pick it up, the pieces just literally fall out. You can take your pick tool if you want, but literally, if there's a piece left, you just have to bend it a little bit and it falls right out. So let's see. All the pieces are out. Looks good. Bring my die over here so I don't lose it. And now we're going to go back, grab that. So that one's the bigger size. We're not going to use that one. We're going to use the one that's closer to its real size. So this one. So again, We're going to bring a little glue out. Just a touch on this. You don't need much. Again, here's a space that's not gluey. I'm sorry, I'm off. Found a space that doesn't have any glue on it. We're going to hang on to this really tight because you don't want to get it on the underside. All right. Glue this down. But now my fingers have glue on them, so you want to be careful. I'm a little off, but I'm going to leave it that way because I'm afraid if I do it with my gluey fingers that I will rip the butterfly. All right. Again, bring that off to the side. Bring my card back. I think I want to do it like that. Get some dimensionals. I'll put one in the middle. Do a little dimensional happy. You can use your take your pick tool, but these I've had from my Paper Pumpkin subscription, so I know that they are really, really loose. So I'm going to go that way with it because I want to leave this color here. Nice little pop-up. Then I have some jewels. Now, I'm going a little crazy on the jewels, just so you know. These are the brushed brass butterflies. These are in the mini catalog right now. So you want to go ahead and get them in case they don't get, you know, transitioned over to catalog. So I'm going to put some of the small ones on there just for little emphasis. Yep, so there's that. Then I'm going to use on the body of the butterfly, I'm going to use the faux sea glass shapes. And what I like doing this, and I do this a lot with my dragonflies, and you all know that I am a dragonfly person. I mean, butterflies are cool and all, but dragonflies are better, in my opinion only. So I like putting a couple of these just as the body. Okay, and then last but not least, I have a few points here that look a little boring. So you can take your blends, and on this one, I think I'm going to do the green again. You're going to go ahead and take your blend and color over your rhinestone. And then just give it a second to dry. As you can see, I've used my Just Jade a lot for this, and I've kind of messed up the point a little bit, but that's okay. That's why you can always reorder. All right, so now that these are a little bit dry, and what I usually do is I'll take a Post-it note or something just to tap down on it, make sure. See, they're all dry except one little spot wasn't. And then I'm going to go ahead and take that off there, that off there, and this one right there. And then I usually will use my Post-it or whatever just to get some of that off. It's going to dry on there, but just to get some of that off. And then my final step is just using, and I featured this in a video last, let me look, I have to look at my list. Biggest wish I did on a 6/19 video, so last year, June 19th. So I'm going to do the birthday. This time I'm going to do it opposite. I'm going to do the happy in the, oops, that's friend. Which way, where's my happy? Don't I have happy in the, yeah, I do. Hello. Happy. This is happy. All right, sorry. Let me get a block for the happy, a block for the birthday. Ooh, that's barely going to fit. All right, I'm gonna get a bigger one. I don't want to run the risk of it not stamping nice. All right, and this time I think I'm gonna do it to go with that magenta. I think I'm gonna stamp it in Magenta Madness. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna do the birthday stamped off once. And then I'll do the happy full strength. All right. It looks like I did kind of touch that a little bit with the dimensionals. So you know what you can do for that? Never a worry. Look at that. I'm going to go ahead, cut a strip off of that. Not that anyone's going to notice, but I notice. Stamp and seal. And go ahead, sorry, and put that down right across the bottom. And there you are. Get out my bone folder so we can go ahead and make sure that's a nice strong fold. And there you are. Featuring that butterfly Brillance bundle that is in the current catalog, maybe going into the next year's catalog, may not, but just wanted to show it to you, feature it, just to make sure. So thanks a lot, guys, and have a great Sunday. Hope your weekend was good, and stay safe.